Joining us now to help preview Super Bowl 60. He's joined us all season long. Ross Tucker, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, where you can check out Ross on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Ross, good to hear from you. Good morning.
Of course. It's been great to talk with you guys all year. I've really enjoyed it.
So let's start with maybe the biggest news of the week, since there's this gap in between the AFC and NFC championship games and the Super Bowl, and that was clearly Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. What was your initial reaction when you saw that?
Well, I think I was really surprised like anybody else. I think especially because we didn't know the information was coming out because it wasn't supposed to, which, by the way, is a whole other topic. I'd love to know who leaked that and why. But I actually, I did some digging because I was curious about it. And I always, every year, have a couple of the Hall of Fame voters reach out to me, not about like the senior candidates or the coach, but about, the modern era guys. So I've come to the conclusion there are 4 different reasons, essentially, why Belichick did not get voted in. And I don't know how many people fall into each category. The one, which is real, is that it's a really complicated process for guys to get a chance as a seniors candidate. And this year it's L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, Kenny Anderson. But there's a whole committee that decides who those guys are. And remember, those guys didn't make it the first 15 years. And so this is like their only shot. So some of the voters, I think it was really important to them. They think all 3 of those guys are Hall of Famers, and they wanted to vote for all 3 of those guys. Or they looked at it and said, you know what? Belichick's going to get in anyway. I don't want to waste my vote on him. Because you can only vote for 3 out of the 5. So there's 3 players, Belichick and Kraft. So I think that is one part of it. I don't think there's any question that a couple people hold the cheating scandals against him and probably didn't vote for him because of that. I don't think there's any question that he treated people poorly. People don't like it when you treat them like crap. And I'm sure a couple of them at least were like, you know what? Heck with that guy. I'm not going to vote him into the Hall of Fame the first time because that's the human nature of some people. And I will say the one that was most interesting to me was one guy said, listen, he was a head coach in the NFL for 11 seasons without Tom Brady as his quarterback, and he won 1 playoff game. So he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's a great coach. He didn't get in, but I don't feel like I have to vote him in the first year, which I thought was really interesting.
Ross, let's go to the Super Bowl. When we talk to some of our listeners, if you scroll social media, the people aren't excited about this matchup. What do you think of it?
Well, you know what? That's so interesting about it. Who's like the most well-known person involved in this Super Bowl? Like, is it Robert Kraft? Is it Vrabel? You know what I mean? Like, If you walked around downtown Detroit right now and said, okay, it's Patriots, Seahawks, how many people involved with both teams can you name? I feel like Vrabel and Kraft would be way up there. I mean, how many people in Detroit can even name who the Seahawks coach is? I know, and I'm sure that most of them know that Darnold's the quarterback there, but it's lacking in star power and it's lacking in name recognition. But I'm okay with that. I mean, I think that they're both very deserving. They both won whatever it is, 14 games. They both have good teams. Drake May had a terrific season. I love the Darnold story. He's a fellow member of the 5-team club. So not many of us 5 guys that play for 5 teams have a chance to be a Super Bowl MVP quarterback.
So I think it's a little bit skewed here in Detroit because Mike McDonald was, spent a couple of years in Ann Arbor, so a lot of people might actually know him. But Sam Darnold, what do you make of him, especially with last year it was 14 wins in Minnesota. This year it's 14 wins, the number 1 seed, and now he's in the Super Bowl. Is he getting over the hump, or are they winning simply because they've put a great team around him?
Well, so they have a really good team. But Smith and Jigba led the NFL in receiving yards. That doesn't happen without a quarterback playing well. I will tell you this. I think that OC for the Seahawks, Clint Kubiak, he is slick, man. I mean, he is slick. Smith and Jigba, there was like 3 or 4 times against the Rams on Sunday. He was wide open. Like, how did that happen? The guy is the offensive player of the year, led the NFL in receiving yards. But I think the coolest part about Sunday, so for me, for Westwood One, I get to interview the head coach and the quarterback and stuff right after the games. It's really cool to interview these guys at the biggest moment of their lives. And for Darnold, I kind of thought he might just be along for the ride. He wasn't. He needed to play well for them to win that game, and he did. That was so cool. I thought they'd win anyway. I thought as long as they didn't turn it over, they would win. But he made a bunch of big plays when they needed him to. Not only touchdowns, but then late to kind of clinch it. Darnold, played it like Darnold would have been the MVP of the NFC Championship game if there was such a thing.
Yeah, you mentioned a possibility that he could be the Super Bowl MVP. I'm going to ask you to give me somebody that's not a quarterback that could be the MVP of Super Bowl 60.
Well, so I think you could easily say like Smith and Jigba, and that's not like that crazy. I think the crazier ones would be to take a shot on like Rashid Shaheed to have a kick return for a touchdown and like hitting a deep post or a deep ball for a touchdown. That would be one that would be a little bit more exotic. I mean, you can go with the running backs like Kenneth Walker, Stevenson. It's almost always the quarterback. So it's hard to say it's a receiver. I know that's happened with Edelman and with Cooper Kupp, but usually if a receiver's going to get it, the quarterback's going to get it. So you're better off maybe if you're really, Jim, trying to take a little bit of a long shot to go with Shaheed or like Marcus Jones for the Patriots, because he could have a punt return touchdown and a pick six or something. Those are the two guys that they could each have a couple big plays and be fun.
Best matchup, not just offense, defense, but best individual matchup that you see that fans should be watching when they watch the Super Bowl.
Well, so a couple come to mind. One would be that the Patriots corners are really good. So Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, who you guys know, as well as Marcus Jones. So those guys against Njigba. I'd also say this, not something that people necessarily can watch. These teams have 4 legit coordinators. And I know you guys just went through that with your OC, but it's a pretty good example of how important coaching is. McDaniels and Kubiak on offense, Kerr, this new kid for the Patriots, as well as Mike McDonald on defense. I mean, they are all, I would say, top 10, maybe even top 5 in terms of coordinators in the league for their specific roles, which is awesome. The other matchup I'm going to be watching is basically Will Campbell, the Patriots' first-round left tackle, against whoever he's charged with blocking, because he has struggled in the postseason. Now, the Seahawks are probably better inside with Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams, and they're off the edge. But I still am looking forward to DeMarcus Lawrence going speed to power against Campbell, because he struggled with that.
So, hey, first of all, thanks for joining us all year. It's been fun to talk to you on a weekly basis, individually, and I know our listeners have enjoyed it. We're talking to Ross Tucker, host of the Ross Tucker Podcast, football podcast. You can check him out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. And we talked about this a little bit last week. I've got, from the 84 Tigers, I've got the front page of the Detroit News or Free Press with Kirk Gibson standing up and cheering. I've got one from the national championship. You've got something that dudes should be looking at for Valentine's Day.
No question. And I mentioned this last week. If you're driving in your car right now and you've ever thought about doing any advertising for your business, you have to do it with Costa and Jansen on the ticket, because last week I mentioned myfrontpagestory.com as the best Valentine's Day gift ever. Double-digit people ordered it within an hour, because that's how awesome your listeners are, and that's how powerful your station is, and also probably because it's the best Valentine's Day gift ever. to talk to a writer for 10 minutes or just fill out a quick email and have them write this incredible story about your wife or your girlfriend, whoever, and how amazing she is, and then having it look like it's on the cover of the Detroit Free Press with pictures of you and her and the kids if you have them. It's framed. I've seen, John, double-digit videos now where as they're opening it, they have no idea what it is. They're like, what is this? To be able to say to her, honey, I wanted to just do something unique and special, so I had a story written about you. Like, that sounds like the most romantic, best husband ever. Then, by the way, it's hanging up in the house forever. So next time you get in an argument, you'd be like, oh, really? I had a story written about you. Did you have a story written about me? No, you didn't. and then make sure you say to the writer or you put in the email, I never thank her enough for all the little things she does. She will cry. I've seen like 30 videos. Oh, my gosh, he notices the little things. It is incredible. MyFrontPageStory.com. Guys, you will blow her mind this year with the best Valentine's Day, probably the best gift, period, she's ever gotten. MyFrontPageStory.com.
Ross, we've loved having you on all season. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Thanks, ma'am.
See you guys.
All right, coming up next.
Hey, real quick.
Yes.
2 things from that.
Yeah.
The ticket listeners discoed on my front page.
Yeah.
Double digit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And that lack of sex guy from Dear John, maybe he should use it.
He should have used it, yeah.
One of the 6.
Headline story: need more sex.
Talking
Here you
Pistons.
go for Valentine's Day.
Talking Pistons deadline end of the hour. Thursday touchdown at 8:35. Coming up next, a crazy stat about the Detroit Red Wings. It's 97-1.